Welcome back, everyone. We continue with our Season 4 updates to our basics guides. We now move on to Paul. Paul players will be happy that he mostly remains the same, which is good news, as there were many who were expecting perhaps a big overall nerf. But we'll start with a couple minor changes. First is kind of a vague change. Up back 2 apparently was changed so that it knocks farther away if it hits someone on the ground. Quite frankly, this is a weird situation for the move to hit in the first place, so I have nothing to compare it to. But if we take just a simple example of forward 2+3 into up back 2, my guess is that this wouldn't have knocked as far away before. However, I can't think of any situations where you would do up back 2 instead of just a death fist or something in this situation, so this feels like a negligible change unless there was some specific situation that Namco was trying to fix with this. Next, forward 4-3-4 forward 4 has a little more range. Again, not a move you'll see a lot, but it is a buff, I guess. Similarly, sway 1+2 now has a lower hitbox. You might see this perhaps hit people moving on the ground a little bit more, but overall this was just a consistency change to ensure he could hit moves with low recovery or certain stances. Moving on, 2-3 is now safe on block. It's a high that doesn't jail, so not super common, but because the second hit does give a big counter hit juggle, it's good for those rare occasions where you think your opponent is going to blindly swing after the jab. Now you don't have to worry about it getting punished on block. And because it recovers 3 frames faster in general, it's a little better on whiff and regular hit. Not a bad buff, I don't think. Next, Paul's forward 1+2 throw is a little better now at the wall if your opponent breaks it. As you can see, he falls much quicker to the ground, which prevents you from having to eat certain follow-ups, certain guaranteed follow-ups. I consider this a minor change because good defensive players should be breaking this anyway, so it's not something that you should be spamming or even really using regularly. Now to some more relevant changes, and we'll start with the damage nerfs on Sidestep 1, which went from 23 to 21, Sidestep 3, which went from 18 to 17, Sway 4, which went from 28 to 23, and his Super Cancel, which went from 20 to 15. No doubt that these were made to address his power creep damage, although don't fear too much because Paul is still a damage machine. The Sidestep 3 change is negligible. Sway 4 still really hurts, especially on counter hit, and you're still going to get more damage than a regular juggle by using the Super Cancel. It just won't be quite as much. Now, more impactful is the change to Sidestep 1 in general. No more juggle on this. Instead, it gives the knockdown stun that allows you a free death fist. So a slight damage nerf on the initial hit plus an overall damage nerf with the lack of a juggle. It's not a common move for a variety of reasons, so in that sense, the change to it shouldn't worry you too much. If anything, this might have been to address some issues with the move at lower skill levels. You still get the plus frames on block, so no change there. Moving on, a couple of distance changes. While standing 3 now leaves you closer on hit. No doubt this was buffed so that you wouldn't get those weird situations where the while standing 3 would clip at max range and the follow-up would whiff. Up forward 2, you are now also closer to your opponent on block, which means you can now use that +9 to do a lot more. Sway 1 was changed in the same way, so you're now closer on block. No plus frames, it just leaves you at neutral, but it does force crouch, which is typically seen as being in the aggressor's favor, so that's a good change. Overall, mostly quality of life stuff, but should help you make these moves a little bit more consistent in their use. Now to a couple of bigger changes. First, much to the chagrin of all Paul players, forward 1+4 was nerfed pretty heavily. It actually got a damage buff by 4 points, but your opponent can now quick back roll out of the hit, so no more free dead fist. Moreover, the pushback has been decreased on block, so it'll be a lot easier to punish for your opponents. Sad times for Paul players out there that like to use this as a crutch. Next, a buff, thankfully, and that is back 4. It got a slightly new animation and an increase in range, so it should be a bit more usable in the neutral now. Even better, it now gives a toe grab stun on counter hit, so you get massive plus frames from that instead of the regular +4. Plus on hit lows are really awesome, so these are really nice changes to that move. Lastly, we'll close out with the new move, and that is forward 2+3, which is a mid power crush. Fairly unsafe on block at -14, although on hit, you'll get the teeter stun that gives you the free death fist, so it's okay reward if it hits. The -14 really limits its potential since so many characters will be able to launch that, but it does wall splat, so it has some use there. Back 1+2 is normally the go-to for that purpose at the wall, but if you're playing a character that has a lot of evasive moves that might go under a high, forward 2+3 will still tag them. And that's it. Paul doesn't seem to have changed much, but as with all these addendum videos, reminder that we are still in the early stages of discovery for Season 4, so there might be changes not listed in the patch notes that we find out later, or perhaps additional uses for these changes that we just don't know yet. Anything significant, and I will certainly do another addendum video. Like with most characters, you're going to play Paul the same way. A lot of his changes were geared to bringing his damage output down a little bit, as well as his opportunities for really high damage, but he's still got plenty of moves that fit that category. It seems Namco mostly wanted to tone down the stuff that was probably getting abused at lower skill levels. Still, he got a couple of buffs, and he's still very much a powerful, high damage output character. If anything, because other characters got significant buffs, you may see less people play Paul as a secondary, but if you're a Paul main, take confidence in that he's still the same old Paul. So with that, we've come to the end. I'm going to try to get these out rapid fire, as I mentioned before, so I can begin work on the next full basics guide, so expect these to get uploaded within a couple days of each other, but also don't forget to like and subscribe here on YouTube. I also try to stream whenever I can, so the link to Twitch is down in the video description below. You'll also find Twitter and Facebook links down there as well. Lastly, consideration for the Patreon is greatly appreciated. Patreon is definitely the best way to support your favorite content creators. Big shout outs to our two patrons, Tato and EDM. That support goes a long way. And of course, thanks to all of you for checking out this video. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you very shortly for some more Season 4 updates.